adults by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned. Back when I was delivering pizzas, I went to this one house. It was a pretty regular customer. And I came to this one house. It was a farm. They have stables on it and everything. They have goats, chickens, donkeys, a couple horses. And usually they come to the gate to meet me and pay me and so forth. But they weren't there on the porch that day. So it's just a simple gate with a chain lashed around it. So I unlashed the chain, opened the gate, walked through, relash it. And as soon as I turn around, there's these two horses coming around the house. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? It was the black stallion. His name was Kobayashi, and the dappled mare was Maru. The regular customers, I knew the horses' names. You know, you need to know your enemies. And so they come running around the corner, and I'm just like, I was depressed that day, and I was just like, go ahead. Run me down, trample me, kick me in the head. I really don't care. And these horses come up to me. And at first they smell the pizza. They go, I'm like, oh, okay, pizza. And then they look at me, they sniff me, and I'm just like, do your worst. I don't care. And then they both just started nuzzling me on the face. I don't know, maybe sensing I was sad. Then the people came to the door, and they're like, oh, they're harmless. Lies. So I came up, and I said, well, you got a mare and a stallion here. What, are you trying to breed them? And they're like, yeah. And so, and they said something like, oh yeah, they must know, sense something about you. They're trying to comfort you. And I got mad. I lost my temper. I threw the pizzas down on the ground, and I said, you dirty horse breeders. And I turned around, and the horses had taken a step back when the pizzas hit the ground. And so I just leapt off the porch, and in one punch, I hit both of the horses' faces. I hit the stallion in the eye on the second shot. The stallion was to hit the mare first and then the stallion. And then I go running through the gate, lashing it back up, make sure those dirty horses don't get out. I jump in my car, and I start driving away. And yeah, I got fired that day. And right after that is when I got the call from Ashley St. Clair, and she's like, I will bury your child. It's going to cost you $5 million, pay me $500,000 over 10 years. A year for over 10 years. And I said, I can't afford that. And she's like, I'm going to go hit up Elon Musk. And I was like, all right, whatever. What do I care? Your nose looks weird anyway. I don't want my kid to have a weird nose. April Fools. Got you good. What a stupid holiday. Welcome to Shock Monkey Radio. I'm your host, The Madman. I remind you, I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today, and you can get the last patron pack. There's one patron pack remaining. I just want it out of my house. I want to get rid of it. Or you can send me money through Cash App using hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word. No patron pack for that. I also have the Zazzle store. Go to zazzle.com/stores. Or is it store or stores? Anyway, there will be a link down in the description. If it's not there right now live, it will be there later when I update it. But you can go to an older video and find a link in the older video for the Zazzle store. You can also follow me on social media over here. Yeah, pranks. I don't know. Why is it all relegated to this one day? April 1st. I know I'm late. I know it's the 2nd. But I mean, every single day is a joke to me. You know, is an opportunity to make a joke. Make up a story about punching horses. You know? And every day is like that for me. Why is it just one day? And it's not like even if the prank is like pranks can cross the line, you know, sometimes. Pranks can cross the line. Just go look at prank content out on YouTube. And so, do you really think that this is a good idea? You know, a prank day? Because pranks are kind of getting out of hand, you know? Wasn't that one guy in Alexandria in the mall, like got shot? He was trying to prank somebody. It can get out of hand. I think about like the pranks I did for April Fool's Days, like growing up. I will tell you one thing. There's one good way to piss off a woman like hardcore for like the rest of your life. If you try to prank her like this, put like saran wrap on the toilet seat. Not on the toilet seat, on the toilet itself, and then put the seat down. I got my sister good with this, and she's hated me ever since. you go in there and you just start peeing and it's just splashing right back up on you. That one really irritates women more than men. I'm just going to put that out there. I think you know the reason why. And what was the one I got my mom with one year is you get some scotch tape night before, the last day of March 31st, Get a little piece of scotch tape and the little sprayer thing on the kitchen sink? You tape that handle down and you point the nozzle directly in front of the sink. So when someone comes on to turn on the sink, sprays them. Real simple, real low tech. Got my mom good with that. She forgave me for it, but my sister, that cellophane, that saran wrap thing, pisses her off to this day. So, I don't know. I'm kind of hungover today. Bear with me. Rip Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer died last night. And we all knew his health was going down for years. Very sick. Maybe I should quit smoking. And so I was thinking about like my favorite movie of his. And after much debating, I have to say it's Willow. Probably the best Val Kilmer movie. Performance. Even though I do like The Saint, I think The Saint is a really good movie, and that was because he was like a master in disguise in that movie and was able to, play different types of characters, in the role. And it showed his versatility. For example, like Willow, it was a kind of a serious action movie, but there were comedy elements. He was a versatile actor. Of course, the Doc Holliday performance, everyone's going to be raving about that for the next week. And admittedly, it's a really good performance. And who's he got? The other movie was Dennis Quaid, who played Doc Holliday in the other movie. Anyway, and Val Kilmer's performance just outshines, so everyone's going to be talking about that. But I do really like The Saint. I really do like Willow. He did that movie, that comedy movie, that spy. Was it called Top Secret or something like that? It's a spy spoof movie. He had chops. He was a good actor. Anyway, rest in peace, Val Kilmer. See, I woke up this morning. I read the news last night. I woke up this morning thinking it was Kurt Russell, and I was very, very heartbroken. I double checked it, and I'm like, oh, it's just Val Kilmer. Is that wrong of me? I don't know. Oh, it's okay. I told you we need to get you a mic. No. Oh, okay. Okay. That's why we need to get you a microphone, because nobody knows what you just said. Did that go in the mix? What you just said in the mix? You still working on the microphone? Holy cow, dude. And is that green tinge just on that screen there? Okay, I see. All right. On your monitor. Okay. Just on this monitor. Technical difficulties. Speaking of sins that women will never forgive you for. I had this memory jar loose the other day about my creative writing class. I did, like 10th grade, I did journalism as my elective. In junior and senior year, I did creative writing, which put me on both. My sophomore year, I was on the school paper, and on like junior, senior year, I was part of the literary magazine. And my junior year, we were doing a poetry reading. We all wrote poems, and we went around the room reading each other's poems. Like you'd read your poem out loud, and then people would comment on, oh, I like this, I like that, and so forth. And there was these two cute girls. They always buddied around together. And you know how you, like, when you're 16, 17 years old, you're like, I got to figure out a way to talk to these girls and show that, I'm not just a simp. I'll speak real to you because I'm a man. And so this one girl did this poem, and she was real hot, real cute girl. But her poetry was kind of how to like immature. It sounded like something a child would write, and we're young adults. A lot of us were a lot of decent poets in that class with me, and a lot of us were writing like existential stuff. And are you okay over there? Are you having a seizure?
That fix the green thing?
No, I think it's just this screen, man. I think it's just this monitor. It's okay. Anyway, so what was I? Where was I?
Us.
Poetry.
You're talking about the girl with the poetry.
Yeah, her poems were like a little basic. Like I like little flowers. I like the pretty sky. You know, I'm oversimplifying. You know, but some of the poets that were existential crisis, a poem about depression or a lost relationship. I mean, there were more mature topics, and I said to this, she did have a good meter and rhyme scheme, but even though the rhyme scheme never wavered, it was always A B A B. You know what I mean? If you know anything about poetry, and so I said in the class, it's like it's good, but it seems like the kind of poem I was writing when I was 13 years old. And I didn't mention the meter thing, and I didn't like have a compliment. It was just you write like a 13-year-old is what she heard. And I didn't think much about it at the time because callous young man. I didn't care what anyone else thought. I guess I still don't. Yeah, I still don't. Maybe I'm a sociopath. Anyway, so I said that to her, and like 4 days later, I leave my notebook. I had to go to the bathroom. I said, teacher, can I go to the bathroom? She gave me one of the wooden hall passes. I went down to the bathroom, came back. When I came back, on my composition book was written in a girl's handwriting, big roundish letters. 13-year-old written on my composition book. And I knew exactly who did it, and I knew exactly why, but this was like 4 days later. And I mean, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. I just ended up scribbling it out, and what can you do? Plus, I'm kind of a baby face. I look young, even in high school, especially in high school. I was senior in high school, but I look 14, you know what I'm saying? So maybe they're trying to get me back. I understand why you're upset. I understand that, I totally failed that. I'm attracted to you, so I want to talk to you harsh, make you like me. But that didn't really pan out. And so I guess, you got to be careful what you say about people, especially about things they create, and because people, it matters a lot to them.
Because art is subjective.
Right. Art is subjective. And so all you people criticizing my show, you can go to hell because it hurts my feelings. This is you're telling me I write like a 13-year-old? I'm going to scribble on your notebook like a 16-year-old girl would. I forget her name, but I'm sorry. I think her name was Kelly. Kelly, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. And the worst thing, like the worst case scenario, is if I said something like that and she stopped writing or stopped trying to be better. And the whole reason I would say something like that is to get her to try to be better. Write about more mature topics, maybe switch up the rhyme scheme. The meter's great. You have a great meter. But it'd be good for writing lyrics in a song. You know what I'm saying? I'd hire you to write lyrics for a song, for a Mamas and the Papas song, I guess. Something with shallow lyrics. I'm not trying to be mean. Anyway. And so, speaking of which, I did that horse watch video. Have you seen that? Oh, I got those new stickers. Do I have one on here? No, I don't. It's just those. Where it's a horse with a circle with a line through it. And people are saying, horses are nice. And like, no, they're not. So I uploaded that horse watch video to YouTube and BitChute. And on BitChute, I got a comment on it. And it says, you are evil. You're the evil one. I'd choose a horse over you any day. And when I read a comment like that, it fills my heart with such joy. I can't express. Like, it made my year. 2025 is made by that person who said, you are evil. And so I did the only thing I could do. And I liked the comment. And then I commented on their comment. And I said, dirty horse lover. Made my year.
Which video was that on?
Horse watch?
Your video, horse watch?
Yes, but on BitChute, they commented. I'll switch the topic before we get into a movie review. So apparently there's people worried that Trump might go for a third term. And no, he won't. He won't. But those of you who are out there and scared that Trump might go for a third term, here's something I want to reassure you with. If that happens, if he tries to pull some FDR nonsense, um, yes, then and only then will I join your socialist army. Okay? I'll be a problem child. I'll be a disciplined case. I'm going to be arguing with people left and right because I don't agree with a lot of your politics, but I do not agree that the president should serve more than 2 terms. I think FDR taught us that lesson. All right? Because it's during FDR's tenure that it became this swamp for the Democrats to launder their money. You understand what I'm saying? Or maybe it was Wilson, Woodrow Wilson, that era. So, yes, I'll join your socialist army if Trump goes to try to run for a 3rd term or does some big power play like, try to take over the government. He's not going to. But yes, I will fight in your army. I will be a discipline case. I will be a troublemaker. And, but I'll join. I mean, it basically just like how I was in the Navy, just a problem child. Anyway, just want to reassure you before we get into these news stories. Holy cow. These, what is this? A movie review. Let's do a movie review. I think it's contagious, EK. I think we both got the bug today, so.
It's a weird day.
Yeah. And I think it's because we paid so much to rent this space, in New York. I cannot believe how expensive this is. And you look around the room.
$14,000 an hour.
Huh?
$14,000 an hour.
I mean, it's not even that nice. Look at it. It's just like a place where people drink coffee.
The couch smells funny.
Yeah, it does smell funny. That's why I'm not sitting on it. We were going to sit on it, but I was just like, this. Every time I shift, I get like Bing ass. I don't know. I don't even know what that means. EK like that one. All right, let's do a movie review. SuperBob. This is a British movie.
I loved it.
EK loved it. This is a British movie. Are you still using the mic for when you talk?
Yes.
Okay. And you have to take that into consideration, that it's a British movie, which means it's going to be slow, it's going to be dry, and it's going to be subtle. All right. British movies are notorious for this. All right. And it is reflected in the star rating when I rate it. Because it does irritate me. British movies do irritate me at parts because of this. And so the whole premise of this is that there's this big meteor coming to Earth, and what happened? Did it break up or something, or it hit? And then like one guy with superpowers appears. This British guy named Bob. And he's got all the traditional Superman-like powers, heat vision and flying and stuff like that. Strong and vulnerable. But he's incredibly boring.
Socially awkward.
Awkward, yeah, and just and it's funny because like superpowers don't necessarily choose the most photogenic people or people who deserve the power. And I think when I was talking with EK about this, what was it, yesterday or the day before? I said it reminded me of The Greatest American Hero, where Ralph gets the suit, and what's his name? Shoot, Bill Maxwell. Yeah, Bill Maxwell is like, why did they give the suit to this guy? Why didn't they give the suit to me? I'm the American hero, but that's kind of the point, is that they're both the American hero. Hey, Big Daddy Evil, what's up, bud? How you doing, cuz? So SuperBob. He goes around, because it's Britain, he's got to like get all these forms he's got to fill out. Every time he saves somebody, he's got to give them a form to fill out, because that's England for you. They're like bureaucratic nightmare.
The movie is riddled with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of paperwork in the movie, and that's kind of why it's not that great. It's pretty good, but it's not that great. And all the funny parts really come from how awkward he is. Like, I think we talked about this, EK. It's like he goes to that 60th wedding anniversary of these old people. And there's a room full of old people. And he sits there, starts talking. It's like, oh, it's nice that you been together for so long, 60 years. I mean, you probably didn't get married when you were a baby, so you're probably up in the 80s. So you probably don't have long left. And so, like, and you got that wife, you've been together that long. One of you dies. Then just like a week later, the other one's going to go too. So that's kind of a good feeling, knowing that, you're still going to be together, It's just an incredible. He's trying to be nice and endearing and sweet about it, but it's just the absolute wrong way to do it. And unfortunately, like that's the soul of all the humor in this movie. And he's awkward and he's trying to date. You know, he wants a girlfriend. And he's dealing with the bureaucracy of England, and England's like, well, we picked someone out for you, someone to date, and he's like, I don't like you, I like my housekeeper, you know, and he's even rude to her. He's like,
that made me feel really uncomfortable.
What?
That whole forced dating thing, was very
and it's something that you need to think about. Is like, especially when it comes to celebrities. You know, when you think about Taylor Swift and what's his name, Travis Kelce. You wonder if like their publicists and stuff like that, they come up with these ideas. You know, the whole Bennifer thing. You know, is this all a stunt just for image and appearance and so forth? And the girl they set him up with, June, she seems like a very nice girl. I would date her, very good looking. But the fact of the matter was, Bob liked the personality of his housekeeper. He liked her brash and talky, she'd always talking and so forth. I think in the beginning of the movie, he even called her slutty,
Well, in the beginning, he kind of had a crush on the librarian.
Oh, right. He had a crush on the librarian. Yeah. Wasn't June the librarian?
June might have been the librarian.
Yeah. And then I went on a date with her, and she was really aggressive, like trying, let's kiss, let's make out and stuff like that. And he's like, I don't know. And I think that's interesting because, beauty isn't everything. Sometimes you like somebody's personality. I don't know if you've ever dated a human being, but if you like their personality, it usually works out a lot better. I don't know. It's a weird, random thought. And so he ends up realizing that he's in love with his housekeeper, and that's cute and everything. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's really not a great movie. There's not a whole lot of superhero action. A lot of the plot hinges upon the romantic life of SuperBob. There is a moment where they say like the UN has told him that he can't work on Tuesdays or something like that, and there's a big wreck, and so he flies down to this wreck to try to save people, and his boss shows up there and says, walk away, and, you're not supposed to be working today, we're violating international law. And when you're SuperBob, when you have Superman powers, I'm sorry, there is no government on this earth that is going to tell me shit. You know what I'm saying? If you were Superman and the UN, you wake up in the morning, you read the news, and they're like, the United Nations has ruled that Superman shouldn't be allowed to. I put on my costume, I fly to the UN and start breaking windows. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're not going to tell me I'm not allowed to save people.
Exactly. And that is the most absurd thing about it, is because he's trying to save people, and that's what bothered me, and that's why I kind of like the ending where he says, I'm no longer good. I'm an Earth superhero. I'm no longer going to be attached just to England. You have every right to do that. And most importantly, no more forms. And then this guy assisting it, actually, you're going to have to fill out at least one form to say that you're not going to be filling out any more forms. Come on, seriously? And so it's a lot of subtle.
Great moment.
Yeah, it's a lot of subtle British humor in it, and if you like that kind of thing, if you have the patience for get through a British movie comedy, it's pretty good. SuperBob 2015 movie, 8 of 13 stars. If it were an American movie written by Americans, it'd probably get 2 more stars. Anyway. 2017 movie, Dave Made a Maze. EK turned me on to this movie. He said, you got to see it. He showed me a scene, and I was like, this is amazing.
If you watch this movie on mute, it is still entertaining the whole way through because the set design is so incredible.
Yeah. See, when I make a pun, nobody laughs. This is my point. It's like puns aren't funny.
There was no pun there.
I made a pun.
Oh.
This movie was amazing.
Oh,
See what I mean?
It went over my head. It went over my head.
I know. A lot of things do. So EK turned me on to this because he's like, the entire set design is made of cardboard and paper, and everyday household objects like playing cards and string and yarn and stuff like that. And he showed me this one scene, and I was, even the practical effects are like cardboard and paper and string. It's really quite amazing. Really quite a creative movie in that regard. And that's like a big chunk of the stars for me in this movie. Because basically this girl comes home from work and finds out that her unemployed boyfriend has built a fort in their a cardboard fort in their apartment. And she's like, "Why don't you come on out?" And he's like, "I can't get out. It's just a lot bigger on the inside and I'm lost." And she's like, "Well, why don't you just stand up?" He's like, "Oh, no, I taped it to the carpet." And she tries shaking it, and he's like, "No, don't do that. Don't do that." Like, what? And so calls all the friends over, like, "Help me get him out of here." Because Dave is having an existential crisis, basically.
Yeah, it starts out feeling like an intervention.
Yeah, it's almost like an intervention. And so, and Dave actually is having an existential crisis. That's kind of the point of the movie, is that when you step into the maze, you're stepping into this man's imagination. And just to be a part of the production design team and making all these sets must have been such a blast, folding origami stuff, making rooms like this one with a big giant head and the balconies and all out of cardboard and paper. It's great. It's really brilliant in the way it's designed that way. And so the friends are like, "Come on out," or, we're going to come in. They're like, "Don't come in, you'll get lost." And so they come in and they get lost. And crazy stuff happens. Like, people get killed. What was that girl, Penelope from Criminal Minds? She was in it. And that was the scene EK showed me, is that when she, spoiler, gets killed, her head comes off and like all this paper, red paper. It's a very creative movie in that regard. However, there are some things that I did not like about it. All right. There's a character who is the director. This seems to be happening more and more in movies where some guy is like a documentarian, and so he's got a friend who's a cameraman, he's got a boom mic guy, and he's the director, and he says things like cheat out a lot and so forth, And this kind of character in any movie is completely unnecessary. It's basically a director writing himself into the movie, and I don't like that. It takes you out of it. All right.
I feel like they were making fun of
obviously
that, though, and because that was something that they encounter in their acting careers.
Right. But the point is that it's a little bit too much like industry insider. Yeah. And so I don't like that in movies. It's like the only reason he's there is to make jokes about, just for the staff and crew, the crew and the cast. And who's that fun for? Just them. So I don't like that kind of character. What I do like, one good aspect of the movie is it always remains whimsical. There's a real whimsical element that, so you even though people are like, their heads are coming off and stuff like that, there's still these jokes, and people are like bantering back and forth like friends do, and that helps keep the spirits up. During the course of a movie, allows you to say, "Oh, this is all goofy." They get inside the maze and it's huge. And it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't apply to the laws of physics. So you're literally stepping into a guy's imagination. And the whole point of this thing is that, Dave didn't have a job. And men like us, we need to work. We need to create things in order to feel like we are doing our job in this world. And so what the maze represents, the labyrinth really, it's actually a labyrinth, if you're being technical about it. What it represents is Dave being able to finish something. I've been there where you get fired, you lose some jobs because you punch a horse in the face, and you feel like, I don't know, what am I doing with my life? And it's like, have I wasted the last 10 years working at this, And so it can be quite soul crushing and existential. And so what the labyrinth represents is Dave wants to finish the labyrinth before he destroys it. And the whole point of that is that it's like, I never finish what I start. I feel like I never complete anything. And so it's kind of a existential crisis for Dave, and it shows it's wearing on his relationship with his girlfriend, or was it a wife? I don't know, wife? Girlfriend. And although his friends showed up to help him, and they're being supportive and stuff like that. And Dave eventually starts to realize what he actually has. I have a good group of friends. I have a girl that cares about me a lot. And it ain't so bad. Things ain't so bad. And I think that that's an interesting premise. But what I really don't like about this movie is the ending. I would have done way different the ending. I like the solution. They come up with a solution to like how to solve the maze, and I thought, okay, that's a good way to do it. But the way they executed it is like somewhat poor. Somewhat poor. I was kind of disappointed. I like the exterior. Like, there's a lot of awesome stuff on the inside of the maze. A lot of good scenery. You know what I mean? But what I really like the exterior because there's all these like steam pipes coming out. It's like when you first walk into the room, it's just you see it's a finite fort. It's about the length of like your living room, but there's all these like steam pipes and like fans and whirling things and smoke coming out of the stacks, and you're like, what the hell is going on? I wanted to look inside that one for real. It's like, how did you do that inside there? Because, like I said, you watch this movie and you're like, it must have been a blast working on these practical effects, working on the scenes, the sets, cutting out tons of tissue paper and, creating a monstrosity like this. Building like a literal maze out of sets. It must have been fun. Highly recommend this movie. Do not like the end. Dave Made a Maze 2017 movie, 10 of 13 stars. Should have fixed that end. That would have been way higher. It would have been 12, maybe 13 stars if the ending was better. All right, let's get into news worth knowing. We have to go quickly. Sweating. All right, let's talk about Trump for a little bit. We're talking about it. Trump pressures 4 GOP senators ahead of anti-Canadian tariff vote, accusing them of TDS. Careful, Trump, careful. So President Donald Trump called out GOP Senators Mitch McConnell, Rand Paul of Kentucky, Susan Collins of Maine, and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska in an effort to apply public pressure before the Senate votes on a measure to scuttle his Canadian tariff policy. The joint resolution would terminate the national emergency Trump declared regarding illicit drugs in Canada. In his executive order, Trump called for slapping tariffs on America's northern neighbor. In a lengthy Trump's back. In a lengthy Truth Social post shortly before 1 a.m. on Wednesday, the president suggested that the 4 GOP senators have Trump derangement syndrome. Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, and Rand Paul, also of Kentucky, will hopefully get on the Republican bandwagon for a change and fight the Democrats' wild and flagrant push to not penalize Canada for the sale into our country of large amounts of fentanyl by tariffing the value of this horrible and deadly drug in order to make it more costly and to distribute and buy. I wish I could edit Trump. So many commas, dude. Find a period. Holy cow. Anyway, that's what he said, and he went on. They're playing with the lives of American people and right into the hands of the radical left Democrats and drug cartels. The Senate bill is just a ploy for the Dems to show the exposed weakness of certain Republicans, namely these 4, in that it's not going anywhere because the House will never approve it. And I, as your president, and will never approve it. Period. I, as your president, see what I'm saying, Don? I, as your president, will never sign it. There's a period. Why are they allowing fentanyl to pour into our country unchecked and without penalty? He continued. He blasted the 4 lawmakers as disloyal to the GOP. You know what, Trump? You be very, very careful. Because these Republicans, they hold a lot of sway with me and a lot of other Republicans. Because they've been in the trenches. They've been dealing with, when you were out of power. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I agree with these people on everything. I do think that we should tariff Canada because of the drug trade, force them to get more serious about stopping drugs coming across the border. Absolutely. But, let's be honest. You've been real hard-nosed about Canada, and Canada has kind of slipped back to the left because of it. So I'm glad you're president again, but I can go back to hating you. You know what I mean? All right. Like I said, we got to move faster here. Corruption is so common with Democrats. So New York City Mayor Eric Adams indictment dismissed with prejudice. So a judge on Wednesday dismissed a corruption indictment against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. U.S. District Judge Dale E. Ho. Is that really your name? Dale E. Ho! Anyway, of the Southern District of New York, he dismissed the case against the Adams with prejudice, meaning it can't be brought back again. The Biden Justice Department alleged that Adams inappropriately used his position as mayor to solicit legal campaign contributions and luxury travel from foreign nationals from Turkey, businessmen, and others, which he did, by the way, just so you know. The DOJ, now under President Donald Trump, urged the judge to drop the case, but Ho said last month that he could take time to consider the motion. The case against Eric Adams should never have been brought in the first place, and finally today, that case is gone forever. Adams' attorney, Alex Spiro, said in a statement to Fox News, "From day one, the mayor has maintained his innocence, and now justice for Eric Adams and New Yorkers has prevailed." Anyway, we all know why these charges came up. It's because the Democrats knew all about it, and they generally don't care. But then Mayor Eric Adams said something like, we need to start policing our streets so that people like Daniel Penny don't have to protect the citizens. and that's way against the Democratic narrative. He's like, no, we don't need any cops at all. What are you talking about, you racist? So he went against the party, and so all of a sudden these charges popped up. Why they're going away, I don't know. I mean, he's very, very guilty. Anyway. And he's not a very bright
Sketchy
man.
business.
It is. Shooting dirty pool. I think he's gay, too. Let's go to the next story. Wisconsin voters decide to enshrine voter ID law in state constitution. Big win for Republicans. So Wisconsin will enshrine the state voter ID law in the state constitution after voters approved the proposal on Tuesday, according to the Associated Press. Vote call was 9:48 p.m. Eastern Time. The Badger State, really? Are you known for your badgers? We don't need no stinking badgers. Badger State already requires that voters have a photo ID in order to participate in polls. But the law has now been elevated to a constitutional amendment. The measure was placed on the ballot by a Republican-controlled legislature in an effort to strengthen election security. It also protects the law from potentially being overturned in court when Democrats are in control, as constitutional amendments have been approved in 2 legislative sessions by statewide popular vote. See what I'm saying? They keep Republicans put it into place and the Democrats take it away. Well, you shouldn't have to have an ID to vote. What? Why would you want to do that? Oh, so you can cheat. Anyway, State Senator Van Wangard. Really, dude? I'd vote for that guy. Your name's Wangard? Van Wangard? That's awesome. You sound like a codpiece. A Republican who co-authored the amendment said this will help maintain integrity of the electoral process no matter who controls the legislature. Trump celebrated the law by being added to the state constitution on Truth Social after the vote was called on Tuesday night. In all caps, voter ID just approved in Wisconsin election. Democrats fought hard against this, presumably so they can cheat. All caps. This is a big win for Republicans. Maybe the biggest win of the night. It should allow us to win Wisconsin just like I did in the presidential election for many years to come. So many commas. and all in caps. Anyway. Like I said, I'm glad he's president. I can go back to hating him. All right. Musk celebrated with a simple yeah. Yeah, he's terse on X. Opponents of the proposal who typically oppose photo ID requirements in general argued that voting would be more difficult for people of color, disabled people, and poor people because they claim the law isn't enforced fairly. Why do you think people of color can't get an ID? Or disabled people can't get an ID? Or poor people can't get an ID? Why do you think that is a thing? It's insane. Anyway, moving right along. Let's talk a little baseball. I'm so glad it's baseball season now. It's back. I need to pay more attention to it. Anyway, so Dave Portnoy slams Yankees torpedo bats, warning that they're infiltrating the sacred game of baseball. I don't know. So Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy gave the New York Yankees a piece of his mind over a controversial torpedo bats. Portnoy claimed that the heated commentary had nothing to do with the New York Yankees, but rather the impact the bats would have on hundreds of years of baseball. It's about fairness and equality, Portnoy told host Stuart Varney on Tuesday. Do you want to keep the game sacred? He went on to posit. New York Yankees debuted their redesigned bats during the team's opening season series against the Milwaukee Brewers. The innovative bat design, crafted by MIT physicist Aaron Leonhardt, places the barrel closer to the player's hands rather than towards the end of the bat, as has been the standard. Yankees critics flooded to the internet after the team scored 9 home runs and 20 total runs against the Brewers on Saturday. Portnoy joined the onslaught of internet commentators during an appearance on Varney & Co. Quote, these Yankees fans think it's about the Yankees, the arrogance of these guys. They've won what? One World Series since the turn of the century? You know who else has done that? I got a list. The D-backs, the Marlins, the White Sox, the Royals, the Cubs, the Nationals. So what? They're a poverty franchise like those teams. Big deal. The Massachusetts native and outspoken Boston sports fan went on to target the two-time American League MVP Aaron Judge, one of the few players on the team who elected not to use the torpedo bat. Aaron Judge hits home runs in the regular season. What's he got going in the postseason? Can't even make contact. Portnoy continued, not laying off the gas. I don't know. I think you have beef with some of these players. Then he moved to the Golden Glove winning shortstop Anthony Volpe, claiming that he stinks. Anthony Volpe, who stinks and is a Yankee, he said they researched his swing. Guess what? They researched it. They found out he stinks. He keeps hitting the ball on his hands. And they've altered the bat. This has nothing to do with the Yankees, but we don't need these Godzilla bats infiltrating the national pastime. Later on the show, Varney welcomed former Miami Marlins president Dave Sampson to weigh in, who quickly deflated Portnoy's comments. Thank you. The bats, are completely legal, number one. Number two, they've been used before. The Yankees used them last year. There are players on the Twins that have used them. There are specific rules about the type of equipment you can use. And I'm all in favor for developing ways to get better along the hardest thing in sports, which is hitting the ball. He additionally addressed the Yankees' blowout 21 run against the Brewers, saying that the pitching staff may not be that good. It turns out the Brewers' pitching staff may not be that good because the Brewers played the Royals the next day and the Royals scored 11 runs or so. So I think that everyone just needs to breathe. Unfortunately, it's that kind of conversation that makes headlines in the sports commentary world. It's why I can never do it. First of all, I don't understand enough about sports to talk about sports all the time. But and even I would get bored of it for a while. I'd start to hate baseball if I was a commentator on it. Anyway, let's go to this next story. Lighter subjects, just to cheer us up before we get out of here. Iced tea brand, after annoying social media posts, later says popular flavor is here to stay. Okay. Popular brand of iced tea has caused some social media uproar after a post implied that the company was bidding farewell to a flavor. Lipton seemed to suggest in an Instagram post on Tuesday that its peach flavor was being discontinued. In a separate post on Wednesday morning, however, Lipton confirmed that peach is here to stay. The marketing stunt was revealed to be an early April Fool's prank. Oops, is it still March? Wednesday's post said. Got my dates mixed up. I thought it was April Fool's already. I'd never take your favorite flavor. I'd never take away your favorite flavor, Pookies. See, they probably use like one of those things, like the automatic social media posts where they say like on this day you gotta upload it. And they did it like on March 31st instead, like hit the wrong day. Social media directors, you got to get on your ball. The post went on to say that Lipton would send a surprise to fans with the best reactions to the fake news. Your love for peach has not gone unnoticed. It was an about face from the United Kingdom's based brand's post one day earlier when Lipton shared a graphic of its peach can with angel wings above a message that said "Rest in Peach." You may have heard that our iconic peach Lipton iced tea flavor is getting discontinued. We know it hurts. Sorry if we ruined your go-to afternoon chill bev, but don't worry. The rest of your faves are still here to keep you refreshed. And who knows, maybe one day peach will make a legendary comeback. The graphic also featured the hashtag #RIPeach. Reaction was swift, with one Lipton follower calling it disgraceful in the comments section, and another writing, "Or what other flavors even are there?" Wednesday's post prompted a barrage of online criticism from fans of the drink. One user claimed to have quite literally emailed the Prime Minister about this. Oh my God. Another user wrote, "If anyone wants a bottle of Lipton Peach, I may or may not have bought 345 cases of 12 yesterday." You know, have you had the peach tea? It's pretty good. I'm not a fan of peaches, but it's pretty good flavor. But I mean, getting outraged over this? No more Lipton brand iced tea. Some other, like Nestea, is going to come out with one. All right, you're not going to lose it. And even if you do you really care that much? It's just peach flavored iced tea. You know, if you had, any kind of sense about you, you'd know how to make some peach flavored iced tea of your own. You know how you do it? You make iced tea. You put a peach in it, cut up some peaches, put it in the iced tea. All right, let's stay in England. UK bans ninja swords in a move to crack down on violent knife crime. Yeah, this is smart. Brits have until August 1st to get rid of all their ninja swords as UK's Labour government looks to crack down on knife crime. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced Thursday that ninja swords specifically will be banned this summer after the 2022 murder of 16-year-old Ronan Kanda, who was stabbed to death by a ninja sword just outside his home. Confirmed ninja swords will be banned by this summer, Starmer said on his post on X. When we promise action, we take it. The new ban, Ronan's Law. Really? Didn't Ronan use a ninja sword? Or is it a samurai sword? Are they the same? I can't remember. Ronan's Law. And now make it illegal to possess, sell, or make or import ninja swords. Since losing our beautiful boy Ronan, we have relentlessly campaigned for a ban on ninja swords, the lethal weapon which took his life. Pooja Kanda, the mother of the 16-year-old boy, said, according to the government readout, "We believe ninja swords have no place in our society other than to seriously harm and kill. Each step towards tackling knife crime is a step towards getting justice for our boy Ronan. The British government has set up a surrender process that any owner of a ninja sword, defined as a blade between 14 and 24 inches, I think ninja swords are actually like 6 feet long. Anyway, like the true katana is like 6 feet long. The Wajisaki blade is the most common one you see. That's the smaller one. I think that's like 3 feet long. All right, 14 to 24 inches, one straight cutting edge with a Tonto style point. From 1 August, why people don't say August 1st anymore. From 1 August, anyone caught in possession of a ninja sword in private could face 6 months in prison, and this will later increase to 2 years under new measures in the crime and policing bill. But if you do this, what are like cocaine addicts going to do in the middle of the night when they're really high on cocaine? You can't like take your shirt off, do a line, and then like swing around your ninja sword anymore. It's got to take a lot of the fun out of it. Anyway, knife crime has long plagued the UK through offenses involving sharp instrument committed last year. England and Wales are down to 15-year peak in 2019, and there are substantially higher crimes reported in 2010. 33,800 crimes were reported versus 50,500 cases in 2024. A sharp instrument, according to the UK, includes knives, but also include like a broken bottle, stuff like that. A screwdriver. See, this is the point. You got rid of guns because you think, oh, we don't want people getting shot. And people are starting getting stabbed. And now you're like, oh, well, now we got to get rid of knives. You know, eventually people are going to start hitting each other with rocks, and you're going to we're going to ban rocks. And it's like, what about the one big one we live on? You know, you're getting absurd about this. It's the old saying, like, guns don't kill people, people kill people. You know, you should go after the person who stabbed your son, not the weapon. You know, you can't. It's just a tool. The tool has no memory, has no feelings, has no personality, has no intelligence. And so you can't keep banning stuff that kills people because, it's not like there isn't guns in the UK. There's still guns there. They're just illegal. And you're still going to have cokeheads swinging around their swords in the middle of the night. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that's the only reason anyone buys a ninja sword is so they can swing something around in their apartment in the middle of the night when they're high on cocaine. Or is this just me? Is this just how I used cocaine? Use cocaine. I'm kidding. I don't use cocaine. I use heroin. All right, this is going to be the end of the show. I want to remind you again that I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. I would appreciate it very much. You can also get the last patron pack. One more patron pack remaining. Do not underestimate the power of the Shock Monkey Beach Towel. You can get the last one that is infused with the Madman Magic. Of course, all Madman Magic is infused in all the towels that you can get on the Zazzle store. So go to zazzle.com/stores/shockmonkeyradio, or you can follow the link down in the description below. Follow me on social media at DNALETSAW, that's the word Wasteland, on Twitter, at SLRobbins13 on Instagram, and Shock Monkey Radio Redux on Facebook. This has been Shock Monkey Radio. I'll be there for you, and I love you.